Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we talk about all things living here in the great state of Maryland. So if that's the kind of information that you are looking for, you are definitely in the right spot. And today we are talking about the truth about living here in the great state of Maryland here in 2023. So the first thing I want to start off with is just talking about a little bit of the real estate market and the economy in general, so you kind of know what exactly that looks like. So here in Maryland, things remain competitive in the real estate market. We have been holding probably for the last 6 months or so about 1 month of inventory as far as our absorption rate when it comes to inventory in the real estate market. So that continues to remain a pretty extreme seller's market. So when we talk about the absorption rate or the inventory rate being at 1 month, basically what that boils down to is that in roughly 1 month, if no new homes came onto the market, that's how long it would take for the existing homes on the market, all, fully active, fully available homes, to go under contract and move towards fully closing and selling. So, not a lot of inventory, so things continue to remain tight. The good news about this is that things are definitely less crazy than they were 18 to 24 months ago during kind of that post-COVID craze with the bidding and all this kind of stuff. You still do see that from time to time, depending on the location that you're in, depending on the price point, and depending on the situation. But in general, things are starting to kind of, just settle down a little bit. So if you are considering purchasing a home here in the state of Maryland, that is good news. So, we're working our way back towards kind of a more of a normal buying and selling experience where things are just, making their way towards being less crazy. So that's good. Now, interest rates, a big reason for our low inventory, a big reason that continues to hold is that interest rates are continuing to stay high. I think I was just looking yesterday, we're hovering around a 7.25 almost at a no cost conventional 30-year mortgage rate. Which means your government rates, your government loans rather, which is your VA and FHA, are approaching 7% at a zero cost, which is, that kind of gets confusing because a lot of lenders today with high rates, they're quoting points and things like that. So if you're looking to get pre-approved, just kind of be cognizant of that when you're having those conversations. Just kind of be aware, okay, you're quoting me this rate, what's the cost to get that rate? So you want to make sure you're having those conversations, because not a lot of lenders right now want to be telling you, oh yeah, the rate's going to be 7.25. That's kind of a tough conversation for them. So if you're getting quoted a rate in the sixes or something like that, you just want to make sure you're having that thorough conversation of, okay, exactly how much is that costing me to get to that rate, and just kind of making sure that you're having that thorough conversation. So now historically, interest rates have come down as inflation has come down, and we have been seeing those CPI inflation numbers come down. Rates continue to kind of be stubbornly high here. So the expectation and the hope is that as inflation comes down, we will see interest rates, mortgage interest rates, come down as well. That hasn't necessarily happened yet. And of course, there's no guarantees on any of this kind of stuff. So, but hopefully the hope and the expectation is that hopefully as we move forward here, we will start to see rates come down. But who knows? There's just so many things at play, so many things that factor into these types of things. So that's what we're hoping to see moving forward as well. And then just to hit a little bit on the economy here, we're sitting at gas prices right now about $3.75 a gallon. So I think when prices were going crazy, we peaked at right around $5 a gallon, and we kind of average the national average when it comes to price of gas. So that's what you can expect here as far as that. And then it is interesting. So we talk a lot about on this channel, the economy and things like that, and kind of the foundation of our economy being here in Central Maryland is kind of that government work, the contracting work, and everything that kind of stems from that, and just kind of it being very foundational to our economy here, and that's very true. I was at a event last week and just kind of networking with some people, meeting some new people. There's about 7 or 8 of us there, and we were just kind of going around chatting about what we do for a living. And I think at least 4 or 5 of the 8 of us were in government work directly with DOD or NSA or something like that, Fort Meade. And then the other, people were in some sort of sales or something like that. So, and this is a common occurrence. So it's like, so many people that you meet here in the area are tied to that government work or that contracting work. They work with a contractor that directly has contracts with the federal government, and that work is tied directly to the federal government. So, of course, Maryland is not exempt from any type of, economic, challenges. However, with that type of foundation here in our economy, it seems to be that we feel that a little less, or it's going to be something that, it's going to be something that comes a little further down the pipe. So, that's kind of continues to be the foundation of our economy. And I do not see any, I do not see any slow in spending here. My office is near several restaurants, and, takeout food places and stuff like that. And I just, the lines continue to be crazy long. And I'm just like, man, how are people continuing to spend this kind of money? So, but that's what I see. I see at our local, Columbia Mall that I go to a lot. That's where we do our date nights and, kind of hang out with the family and stuff. And it's just always packed. People are out spending money. So it doesn't seem that things are slowing down here at all when it comes to, the local and overall economy as far as people spending money. So that's kind of what I'm noticing out there as well right now. All right, number two thing that I want to talk about here is going to be the weather here in Maryland. This is something we get a lot of questions about, as we discuss and help people with their real estate goals here, coming from all around the country. Some people even, outside of the U.S. making their transition back to the States. And it's something that we get a lot of questions on. So it's something I wanted to clarify. Now, the thing that you want to be most prepared for is that a lot of times we have no idea what the weather is going to be like. It's all over the place. Maryland is just kind of known for that. It's something that we talk about a lot as, Marylanders, like, oh my gosh, like it's April, we just got a little bit of snow, but, tomorrow it's going to be 75 degrees, all these, those types of things is just an example. So the thing that you can plan on is that we do get all 4 seasons here in Maryland, which is one of my favorite things. I just love having, fall, winter for the first week or so that I get tired of it. And then springtime is always amazing as well. So, definitely knowing and having that expectation that you're going to get to see and experience all those 4 seasons here is amazing. But just this last year, our past winter, we didn't have a single snow that stuck. We had a lot of cold nights. We definitely always get that coldness here. But snow is not necessarily always guaranteed. Most winters in my 8, almost 9 years here in Maryland, we always get a handful of, whether it be 4 or 6 inch snowstorms, something like that. But it doesn't usually stick around very often because we tend to have that, more of a mild winter, more of a mild climate here. It's either melting, due to it getting a little warmer, within 24 hours, or just not being quite cold enough to where it kind of will stick, initially, and then the roads aren't, cold enough, and they just kind of end up, it kind of ends up melting anyways on its own. So, winters, they can be a little extreme. My first winter here, we had a 3.5-foot snowstorm. I had to go out and shovel our driveway, and it was a big pain. So we definitely have that capability, and that's probably something that's coming sooner than later, since it's been a long time since we've had something like that. So just being prepared for the unexpected here in Maryland when it comes to weather is something that's best to plan on. And knowing that we will get all 4 seasons and you will get to experience that is something to plan on as well. All right, next is going to be traffic. Wanted to speak to this a little bit so you know what to expect. And Maryland as a whole is not something that I can really speak in generalities when it comes to traffic. So for me, I kind of break this down into 3 parts. So you've got greater DC part of Maryland. So basically Montgomery County, Prince George's County, those surround DC directly. That's going to be kind of part 1. Central Maryland, which is going to be northern Montgomery County, northern Prince George's County, and then Anne Arundel County, Howard County is going to be kind of part 2. And then you've got part 3 being, in general, part of Baltimore, right? So you've got DC area. You want to plan on traffic being almost as bad as probably anywhere. I grew up in LA, so I know what traffic looks like. And DC is definitely the heaviest of traffic. Greater DC is the heaviest of traffic that we have in Maryland as a whole. So you want to be prepared for that. That can happen any time of the day. So you want to be prepared for that type of traffic when you're in those counties and when you're in any part of the DMV. So which is going to be, parts of Maryland that surround DC, and Northern Virginia. So you want to be planned and prepared for that. When it comes to Central Maryland, Howard County, most of Anne Arundel County, northern Prince George's County, and northern Montgomery County. In my experience, there's not a ton of traffic, which is great. So you've got 29, 95, 295. You will have some, of course, backup during your typical rush hour times on those main highways running north-south. You've also got 132 running east-west. There's just not a ton of traffic when you're in those central parts, which is awesome. So if you are a government worker, if you're working DOD, maybe NSA somewhere in those, in that region of Central Maryland, maybe you're going to Fort Meade, you're going to there's not going to be a ton of traffic, which is great. There's going to be a little bit, of course, but there's not going to be your typical traffic in these typical cities. So then when you move out to Baltimore, you've got Baltimore's Beltway of 695. This, in my experience, definitely there's going to be traffic. It is more from, I'd say, 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and then going to be, anywhere from 3:45 to 6 or 6:30 or so. So it is pretty tailored and specific to those traditional rush hour times. So overall, I'm in Central Maryland, so I don't, I definitely experience the traffic when I'm in, Baltimore and DC. But when I'm sticking within Central Maryland, it's pretty refreshingly low on traffic when it comes to traffic. So that's something that you can expect when it comes to that as well. And just so everyone knows, I am a licensed realtor here in the state of Maryland. So if you ever have any questions about buying or selling real estate here in the state of Maryland, we absolutely love having conversations around that and how we can best assist with your real estate goals. So feel free to reach out anytime, and we have your back when moving here to the great state of Maryland. And last thing I wanted to touch on is how to get the best taste of the true Maryland experience and living experience here in the area. So just like anywhere, our suburbs and our cities are full of a lot of your chain restaurants and things of that nature. So what I fell in love with moving out here to Maryland from Southern California was awesome, definitely. But a lot of things are very new. A lot of parts of northern San Diego, greater parts of LA are very new. So what I loved when I moved here was just getting to experience and go to the local Main Street districts and just kind of getting to see all the 1800s architecture, all the brick buildings, and just getting to see all the beauty that you see in those different areas. So you've got historic districts in Old Ellicott City. You've got one in Sykesville, which is awesome, Frederick, Annapolis, Laurel. So those are just a handful that I've been to that I've really, really enjoyed. You're not going to see any chain restaurants in those areas as well. So you really get to experience some local restaurants, awesome food, drinks, seafood as well. So if you are looking for that type of experience, just want to get your feet wet and really experience what it looks like to just kind of have a night out or a day out in Maryland here, those were definitely some areas that I would recommend checking out. All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you ever have any real estate questions about buying, selling, moving here to the state of Maryland, we absolutely love helping out. Feel free to reach out anytime, and we will see you at the next video.